Okay, well, it's now 6:05, and I think we'll just begin and take questions in the chat. So again, as I said earlier, welcome to the session this evening, and it's our pleasure and it's our privilege to be able to host an information session with students coming to us from the Bahamas, taking your questions, sharing in your interest, and providing information that you will find useful as you again continue to plan with your journey. So I have Letitia this evening is also co-hosting with me. Letitia is one of our digital representatives who's been sending you a lot of emails and reminders about anything and everything Fanshawe. So again, she's my right hand today. So Letitia, thank you for joining in. And if we could just move to the next slide. So there's Letitia. Letitia is actually based in Brazil and looks after all the Latin American countries and all the different islands. So again, we do send you a lot of emails, but it's because we don't want you to miss a beat, and we want students to stay informed and stay engaged with us as you get ready to join us in September or perhaps in January. I know everyone in the session right now, they're all registered and fully paid up and ready to go. So will we. So welcome this evening, and let's just continue on. Next slide, Alicia. So we want you to leave your mic off and your camera off, please. You can interact with us asking questions or commenting using the chat. We will try to answer all of them at the end, but if not, I know all of you know how to reach me. So I'm happy and really looking forward to continued conversations with you. So if you don't get a chance to put something in the chat or you remember afterwards, don't hesitate to send me an email, and I will in fact get back to you, or perhaps book an appointment if you want to get a good half an hour's chunk of time. So welcome, and next slide, please. So we want you to get to know more about Fanshawe, even though you've already chosen the program, but a little bit more about our different campuses, why you would choose Fanshawe, some of your options. It's the City of London, Ontario. We always say London, Ontario, not London, UK. What supports we have in place for you, what supports to guide you, support you, and direct you correctly along the way as you stay as a student with us, and even after you're a student as an alumni. Then we also look at the fee and the application process. I have a couple students from the Bahamas who will also be joining in, just to give you a little bird's eye view as to their experience with us, their challenges and how they've managed it all to stay successful. And then just a little prize at the end we will be also offering. So that's our agenda for this evening. Next slide, please. So let's get to know a little bit about Fanshawe College. And most of you have done your research. So you know we are located in Ontario, which is one of the largest province actually in terms of population in Canada. Ontario is the most diverse of all the provinces. So in terms of all different cultures, races, countries, just being totally representative of the world. Ontario is that province. Like all the other provinces in Canada, they're all very beautiful. But we tend to think Ontario is one of the most beautiful provinces because of diversity and because of the lakes and where we're located, pretty close to the US. We are in southwestern Ontario, 2 hours from Toronto. Most people know the big city, Toronto, but we are 2 hours west of Toronto, but also pretty close to Detroit, not too far from Chicago, and certainly not too far from Buffalo for students who are familiar with the United States. When students choose to come to Fanshawe, I always like to think you're coming to Canada, but you're going to do your studies at Fanshawe. And what I mean is you study with us, but really your future lies from one end of the country to the next. So from the lakes right through to the Pacific Ocean, that's the full length and breadth of Canada. So that all those different provinces you see outlined there may be places you visit, or places you may do a co-op, or places you may get work experience, internships, or relocate to after you've graduated. So certainly a wonderful choice you're making in choosing Canada and London, Ontario in particular. Next slide, Letitia. So we are Fanshawe College, and we are your destination, your college of choice, your institution for your post-secondary study, whether you're continuing studies or whether you're just starting for the first time with your post-secondary. Fanshawe College is your home, will be your home away from home. So we are one of the 24 colleges located in Ontario. So we are, I think we are in the top 5 in terms of size, and we are all publicly funded colleges. So for anybody who questions, will I get a postgrad work permit? Is this college well represented? Is this college legitimate? Yes, we are. Okay. And like I said, we are one of the 24 colleges in Ontario. We're the only one here in London. Most cities may have 1 or 2. We are the only college here in London, Ontario. And we've been around for more than 50 years. The good thing about that is it means we know what we're doing. It means our programming is solid, it's well researched, it's well delivered, and we have an excellent reputation with the employer community. So students who graduate from Fanshawe, when you become an alumni, you're in pretty good company. And I know we have literally, I think, over 100,000 alumni all over the world, because we are from 120 different countries. So anywhere from Kazakhstan to Ukraine to Peru to Brazil, Egypt, Bahamas, Jamaica, Chile. We have students from just everywhere who are one of our present at Fanshawe College. We have 21,000 full-time students and just a little over 8,000 international students. 8 campuses in Ontario, including the London campus and what we call regional campuses. And these are the campuses that are not commuting distance, but certainly not, not more than an hour and a half away from the main campus here in London. So Fanshawe College has been around, like I say, for over 50 years. And I know in most companies here in London, Ontario, there is a manager, there is a supervisor, there is a CEO, and tons of employees who would all be graduates from Fanshawe College. So the good thing is when you apply for jobs, they know who you are and they know what your institution has been like and what kind of programs we offer. So you're in good company. You've made a great choice choosing Fanshawe. Next slide, Letitia. So there we are, our 4 campuses in London. Our main campus, the aviation campus. One of the students speaking this afternoon is from the aviation campus. We have a campus in the downtown, which is our School of Hospitality and Tourism. Lots of students from the islands are taking courses at the downtown location, which is a beautiful campus, and again, brand new. So it's state of the art. The labs, the classroom space, the meeting spaces, the lobbies, the hallways, they're all pretty cool spots to be getting an education because it's brand new and well thought out. If you're doing animation or game design, anything acting, video game design, they're all located in the downtown also. So we have 2 campuses downtown that face each other. One's hospitality and the other one is digital and gaming. Then we have what we call regional campuses. So Simcoe, Woodstock, and St. Thomas are 3 campuses that are within about a half hour to an hour from London. So if you do have a program that's offered at that campus, it would state it clearly in your offer letter, and it's always important to pay attention to that. But if you're looking at housing, you want to be sure the housing you're looking for is not located in London. It is in one of those areas. There is no residence at those campuses like we have at the London campus. So students who go there will need to be finding an apartment or, some sort of accommodation off campus. But they are also really cool campuses. Because they're small, they deliver a very intimate kind of curriculum where the faculty, the administrative staff, they know the students so well, they know them all by name. So they're not as large as London, and therefore you are in a little bit more of a community-based sort of learning, but all great campuses, and they're all Fanshawe College. Next slide. So again, we say main campus, but really we call it the Oxford Street campus, which is where I think most of you will be. The Oxford Street campus, that's an aerial view of the campus. It is pretty large and it's on a large expanse of green space. We are one of the few colleges in Ontario that have a campus. If you think of Toronto, it's beautiful in Toronto, but none of the campuses have the expanse of free space, a green space, I should say, like the London campus. So at that campus, of course, you have your gym, you have all your leisure activities there, the wellness center is like a little city away. There's a pharmacy, a medical clinic, restaurants, coffee shops, which means there are lots of places where students can find part-time jobs. We also have the library located there, which is called the Learning Commons, because it's not a traditional library with lots of books. Everything is sort of more electronic now. So the library has a very strong electronic presence. It is not your large, sprawling, typical traditional library space. Then we have on-campus residences here. So there are 3 residences and a townhouse, all located pretty, just across the street, a 2-minute walk basically from most of the classrooms. Many labs, studios, photography studios, drafting studios, building studios, etc. We have a new building that's not mentioned there. It's called Innovation Village, which is a beautiful glass structure just for students to learn to be innovative, get some experience, and it's just a hangout spot also. So if you are at the Oxford Street campus, if you're taking business, if you're in a health program, if you're in a trades and technology program, if you're in a science program, you will be at the London campus, the Oxford Street campus. Next slide. And then the downtown I mentioned earlier on, the 2 buildings. So digital arts and hospitality, and the culinary arts, baking and pastry, event planning, tourism and travel, flight services. These are all programs that are offered at the downtown campus. Many people don't know that we're now offering a program if you want to be a flight attendant. We've been working on that program for quite a while, and that program is now one of the ones we offer. Then the School of Information Technology, they are located there, but they will be moving over to the Oxford campus in large part for 2024. So things like if you're into computer programming, it'll be at the Oxford Street campus, okay? And then the building with the red column you see there, that's going to be if you're getting into anything in the digital arts. So if you are going to if you're looking at something like game design, animation, video games, editing, and that's another program we've had some Bahamian students take and very, very successful with those areas, and lots of jobs in London for those kinds of programs also. For some reason, downtown London has become a hub for gaming industries, voice over IP, digital arts, lots of game design. So if a person is taking those programs, it means a lot of your faculty have come directly from industry. I also have to say with the hospitality programs, the staff in hospitality are also people who have been there for a very long time. So they know what they're doing. And the baking staff, the culinary staff, they are all accomplished bakers, accomplished chefs. So you're in good hands getting first-rate teaching if you're at any of those campuses. Next slide, Letitia. So what's the Fanshawe advantage? We tend to think of college giving you the upper hand when it comes to study, where innovation meets education. We tend to think of a college education as one that is getting you ready from day one to enter the world of work. We know what you're spending to become a student here in Canada. We know it's not cheap. We know it's not something that you've taken lightly. And so, we want to be sure that when you graduate from your program, you're ready to literally walk into a job, and you're not going to be just hanging around wondering what to do with all of the academic knowledge you have, because you're going to have a lot of practical knowledge. That's the main advantage. So our employability rate is very, very high. It's over 90% among graduates, and more than 70 programs are on what we call a co-op mode of delivery, which is earn while you learn. So I know one of our students this evening, she is in a co-op right now. She can perhaps tell you a little bit about that. But it means you're in school, you work for 4 months, you come back to school, you work again, but you have to be paid while you're working. So this is not volunteer work. And of course, it goes on a resume, which goes a long way when you're looking for full-time work. Because again, we're over 50 years, we have such a strong partnership with companies, not just in London, I think I may have said London before, but all over Ontario, we have strong partnerships. And then of course, every program we offer is a post-grad work permit eligible program. So you may have heard a lot of changes happening with immigration and IRCC. None of your programs are affected, nor is Fanshawe College impacted in any way by any of the changes. What students got last year, they're still going to be getting this year and next year. 1 year of study means you get a 1-year post-grad work permit. 2 years or more, you're eligible for a 3-year post-grad work permit. And of course, because we have over 100 countries represented, there's the opportunity to interact with different cultures and nationalities. We know we tend to want to stay with what we know, so many students tend to stay with their own country, their country people. But if you wish to create global friendships, that opportunity does exist, and that's a Fanshawe advantage. Next slide, Letitia. So why choose Fanshawe? Like I said earlier on, our college graduates are high in demand, and a lot of it has to do because of the industry expert that we include as faculty, and the state-of-the-art labs, and it is designed to meet labor market needs. So the third point there says programs are industry driven, which means any program we offer, it has to first be created with a lot of feedback from the industry for that program. So you have employers, you have faculty, you've got even alumni who will sit on an advisory panel to make sure the program is giving you the skills that you need. And because of that, the learning is very hands-on and very practical. And students graduate with a lot of critical thinking skills where they're able to really function successfully in an innovative and changing world market that we now sit in. 3 other great points for choosing Fanshawe. The next slide. And again, you leave with a global mindset. I mentioned earlier on that, lots of students, but even faculty, we have faculty who are from other countries. So the diversity and the cultural awareness that you get in the classroom is something that helps you to develop a soft skill that helps you to be successful. And the grads are ready to innovate. I mentioned Innovation Village. So that's a brand new structure, the Center for Research and Innovation, where every student is going to get an opportunity to get some hands-on practical learning experience as part of the Innovation Village initiative. So I can't wait for you to arrive in September and get a chance to see and experience what that building is all about and what it offers you in terms of skills. And next slide, Letitia. So most of you have already applied, which is awesome. I think more than 80% of the people who registered for the session have already applied for programs. So you know what you want to do. But I'm still going to go over the different academic programs that we have. So we've got diploma and advanced diplomas. An advanced diploma is a 3-year diploma. Most diplomas are 2 years in length. If it's a certificate, it's 1 year in length. A diploma, 2 years, and an advanced diploma, typically 3 years with co-op also built in. Then Fanshawe has, I think it's about 8 honor bachelor's degrees in business, in early childhood, in biotechnology, in commerce, in interior design, lots of different types of degrees that we offer. And then of course, if you have a degree already or a diploma, and you wanted to do a postgraduate program, we also offer postgrad programs. That's 1 year or 2 years. And then many co-op work options also available for students. So our programs are plentiful, and we're always looking at adding new programs. We've just added one in I think it's called Green Machine, where we're trying to offer a lot of sustainable programs. So in the automation field, in the engineering field, in the manufacturing field, offering programs where students are going to be getting hands-on experience and technical experience, but from a green perspective. You can go on the website, fanshawe.ca/programs and courses, and have a look at all the different options, even though you've already chosen a program. Next slide, Letitia. So again, 14 academic schools. I won't go over them all for you, but as you can see, all the programs are sort of lumped into whatever discipline. So if you're in nursing or respiratory therapy or paramedic, you'd be under health sciences. If you are in ECE, early childhood education, social work, developmental service worker, you'd be in the community studies area. So all programs belong to a specific school. And within that academic school, you've got advisors, your coordinators, you've got different people to support you in those schools who are there to help you with any challenges or questions or problems you may have, tutoring, anything that you may need to keep you successful. And those are the 14 academic schools. You belong to one of those. Next slide. There you go. I think the first picture, that's going to be the School of Technology. And just so you know, when you're choosing programs at Fanshawe, all our programs are amazing, but some are more geared at STEM. You've all heard of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Most of our programs have a component built into it that will work into the STEM area. So construction, trades, architecture, electromechanical, electrical technology, electronics, culinary. Then there's landscape design, horticulture technician, business, and of course, aviation and our IT programs. These are all programs that are heavily based in anything technical, trade related, and that's where the great and fantastic jobs are. So I'm happy again to discuss with you career options. You may have chosen a program and maybe you want to think about something else. Don't hesitate to make an appointment with me and we can go over your choice and look at what the options are, etc. And make sure that you feel confident that you are in the right area, that, an area that suits your skills, your goals, and your objectives. Next slide. So a little bit about the City of London. Most people don't know London, Ontario very well. They know the big cities, Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver. Well, we are just about, next slide, Letitia. We are about an hour and a half from Toronto, 2 hours from Detroit. We are called the Forest City because it's so green. Right now, I can tell you it's absolutely beautiful outside. It's not yet summer, but we're getting a lot of the trees have started to bud. A lot of them are starting to be in bloom. So it's really quite pretty. If you like walking, there's over 300,000 walking kilometers in the City of London. If you like riding a bike, if you like jogging, anything like that. And I know I've been to Nassau and I've seen people jogging around parts of Nassau. So I know you're also very physical. But when you live in a country where there's a lot of winter and you tend to be sitting a lot, sedentary, hiding away to stay warm, when the weather gets nice, everyone is outside walking or running or just enjoying the outdoors. We also call the City of Music because we have a lot of festivals that happen here in London, and UNESCO has given us that title, the City of Music, because of all the different shows that are offered here in London. Very multicultural, and London right now is on the books as the most rapidly growing city in Ontario. We have a 56% population growth, and a lot of that has to do with international migration, and international students, of course, are a huge piece of that. Affordable accommodation, and as a student, you will get a bus pass, so you don't need to worry about getting around the city. The city bus, or most people walk or take an Uber, or a lot of students also live pretty close to campus. So it's a short bus ride or not too long of a walk to the campus. And if you need to get to Toronto, there's the train, there's the airport. We also have an airport here in London that flights go to Toronto. Or we have a lot of what you call luxury buses that can also take you to Toronto for a very reasonable price, or to Detroit, or to Ottawa, or Montreal for that matter, So you're not landlocked here in the City of London. It's easy to get around. Next slide, Letitia. So what do you do in London? You know, small cities sometimes don't have as much to offer as larger cities. But I can tell you that a lot of people here in London, if you're a student, you might be very busy studying. And you may think, I don't have free time. I don't have time to get out and, explore. But it's really important to get out a little bit. The pictures you see there, the first one is that sort of a bridge going across two poles. That's Victoria Park. That's the large park in the city. It's downtown. In the winter, there's ice skating. In the summer, there are concerts. A lot of people just go to sit and hang out, maybe take a picnic and just hang out in that park. To the right of that, you see a beach. Well, it's certainly not Cable Beach, but definitely it's a place where a lot of students are also now going. They rent cars or they go to the college with a bus and they get a chance to explore Grand Bend, which is one of our it's Lake Huron. It's a massive lake. When you see it, you really think that it's the ocean, but it's not. And then, of course, our ski slopes. We have a small ski hill called Bowler Hill. And I'm amazed at how many students are going out to go tubing, or they go, tobogganing. Or I have a student from the Bahamas who told me he has been out there also learning to ski. So why not? While you're here, learn to do something a little different and enjoy all the seasons. And then, of course, the picture below, you see the trees. That's the fall, which is October to, let's say, December, when you're going to see trees with a bit of orange, yellow, golden, absolutely beautiful. And that's Springbank Park, which is a beautiful park again, and it's just a bus ride away. So between hockey games at the Budweiser Gardens, basketball games, music festivals, hiking, walking, biking, there's something for everyone if you are looking to really have a wholesome Canadian study experience. And I encourage that a lot because it does help to break up the academics. It also is a great way to make friends and start some networking by getting out of your comfort zone and meeting people, experiencing things that you may not have experienced before. That's all the reason why you've chosen to come to another country. It's not to do the same, it's to do something different. There's no junk canoe happening in December, but I can tell you in the summertime at Victoria Park, if you're here for Sunfest, it's 4 days of just a wonderful world party at Victoria Park, and it's free. That's the best part. It is a free service that's offered. It's a free event for 4 full days. And every weekend in the summer at the Covent Garden Market, which is downtown, there's also some concert happening, and it's all free. So lots to do if you're inquisitive and if you're not too afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Next slide, Letitia. So services to support students. Our main services for international students, a lot of it is found in the International Center, and we encourage students to come up to the International Center. Next slide, Letitia. And these are all the different services that we offer as part of our settlement initiative and transition intake. And we do that in September, we do it in January and May. We do it for all of those 3 intakes. That's one of the differences also with colleges. We do multiple intakes. So we will do an in-country departure session, which is similar to what I'm doing today, but we tend to do it closer to your arrival time. So perhaps in August, early August. Fanshawe Cares, and they will send you a ton of emails. And Fanshawe Cares is a support service where they will pick you up at the airport in Toronto. But it's important that you log into their pre-arrival sessions and get all the information you need about how do you get picked up, what do you need to provide, what do you need to keep giving us. They do a 10 to 14 days settlement series also, where they'll talk about finding an apartment, they'll talk about finding work, they'll talk about just about anything and everything you need to know in order to settle easily into the city. So those information sessions are all offered online and you will receive emails. So can I please encourage you, when you get an email from Fanshawe Cares, you open it up right away, and if it's a session, log into it. If you can't attend, that's okay, but you want to be there, and they will send you the recording of the sessions if you couldn't stay for the entire thing. They also run a group called Fanshawe Friends, and that's where you can meet people from all over the world. They have over 100 people right now who are a part of Fanshawe Friends. They go on hikes, they go on picnics, they go to museums, they go to shows, they've been to the beach. They do many things, and it's called Fanshawe Friends. And you can join that group as part of the Fanshawe Cares Arrival Services. And then, of course, we have something else we do call International Week, which you'll hear a lot more about in February, I think, next year when you're here. So these are some of the supports in place to make your journey more enjoyable and more meaningful, I should say. Next slide, Letitia. I'm not going to say too much about this, career services, but this is a very large office at the Oxford campus. A representative will go, though, to the downtown campus. The representative goes to the regional campuses. We have someone that will represent students. It doesn't really matter where your program is. There is someone to speak with. However, they're also located at Oxford Street. So many students will take the bus and just come to the Oxford Street location in order to meet with one of the representatives. And they will help you with a resume, they'll help you with interview skills, even career closet. If you don't have clothing that you can use for an interview, they can help you to get shoes or pants or a skirt, whatever you need, a blazer, and they will work with you to make sure you're interview ready. So you can hold up one of those signs saying hired. That's the goal of every student, to be able to say, I am hired. And career services, they really go all out. And that's why we can boast a 90% higher, 90% plus graduation employment rate, which is higher than the province, actually. The provincial rate, I think, was 85. And I think we were 87. I stand corrected. But we were definitely higher than the provincial rate for employment. Next slide, Letitia. Again, there we go. So, okay, I stand corrected. We were at 86.7% last year, and the provincial rate was 83, which is really good. And we have been high. We've been high every year. And I know this year we also, it's not showing there, but we are also higher than the provincial rate. So again, something for us to brag about. Next slide. Getting involved, I mentioned Fanshawe Friends, and then of course the library, clubs, athletics. I know one of my a student, he mentions wanting to be on the soccer team. So if you like soccer, if you're good at it, badminton, squash, basketball, volleyball, we have varsity teams for all of those different events, and the athletics area is a very vibrant area. I love going over there. It's a great place to go and vent, de-stress, get to meet people, even get a part-time job. And then, of course, the Fanshawe Student Union, that's your union. They are the ones that can help you also to get settled, get involved. And again, there are jobs over at the Fanshawe Union. So getting involved can also translate into fun, but also into making some money. So I encourage you, get involved and make your time worthwhile. Next slide. So we also have a program called the Digital Ambassador Program, where if you wanted to speak to a student from the islands, from the Caribbean, you can, there's the barcode, you can scan that, and you can chat with a student. If not from the Bahamas, maybe from Jamaica or from Barbados or from Trinidad. So I do encourage you to also get a student's perspective, and this is just you and this person talking. So it gives you a chance to be very informal, to be very honest, and to be very on point with what your concerns are, or what your questions are, or what your anxieties are. And these are all students who've walked the same journey like you. So the Fanshawe, and you could become a digital ambassador also. The students love being part of this group. They do a lot together. I think there's probably 100 ambassadors. So they hang out, they go bowling, they go ice skating, they go out for pizza. They hang out a lot, but their job is to also be there for prospective students like yourselves. So I do encourage you to, use that code and chat with a student if you want someone from the islands. It doesn't matter where, but if you say I'd like someone from the islands, they will find you a student who will meet that requirement, and you can have a conversation with them. Which brings us to the next part of the evening's agenda. We have two students who are going to just share a few minutes of their experience with you. Next slide, Letitia. So Tiffany is from the Bahamas. I'm not going to say anything more, but she's a wonderful student, and I have the utmost respect and admiration for her. And so she willingly offered to be part of this. So Tiffany, I see you're here, so I'm going to ask you to just maybe just tell the group a little bit about who you are, what you're doing. What do you have to say about Fanshawe? The stage is
Sure.
yours.
1 second. I'm just trying to get my camera to turn on. But yes, my name is Tiffany Rutherford. I'm from Nassau, and I've been in Canada for about 3 years now, coming up on 3 years. And I'm in the architectural technology program. And my experience at Fanshawe has been really good. I can't lie. Every place you go will have its ups and downs, and you just have to figure it out, which is one thing, but it's important to find a community here. And Craig and I came the same time. And so we've been able to lean onto each other and figure out how it works. So if you can communicate with the people in this group so you could figure out how to navigate, one thing you'll learn really quickly is the bus system. It is a very interesting thing to learn on the first go, but after a while you get it down pat. And residence, I stayed on residence for the whole time I was here. I stayed in Falcon, and I also stay currently in Castro Court. And the residence, the townhouse doesn't come with a meal plan, but you have more freedom. It has a kitchen. You live with 5 other people, and you have to do your laundry at the front. So that is something to keep in mind. Whereas in traditional, you have a communal laundry room as well in the building, but your kitchen is also communal. So that's also something to keep in mind. Uh, Classes, I would say being from the Bahamas, we have a pretty rigorous class schedule already, and you pretty much prepared for it, but at the same time, don't procrastinate. Like, do your work, do it on time, because once you get to certain programs, the teachers after a while won't give you no slack. You will get a good percent off, if not 0% off in your later years. Um, for those of you who have co-op, most of the co-ops are paid. I know for my program specifically is paid, and it depends on your program. You could have 4 months to a year. I have a year of co-op, and it'll either be in London or you could go outside of London. A few Bahamians went as far as Alberta for their co-op, so that's an option. And like Ms. Konnerth said, you could work on campus, you could work off campus, but you could only work a certain maximum amount of hours. And a lot of places will try to make sure it doesn't interfere with your class schedule. And if you work on campus, they will keep monitor your GPA. So that's also, you have to stay on top of your work. For the one person who is interested in sports, they have, like she said, a varsity team, but they also have intramurals for anyone who likes sports and they don't want to be as competitive with it. So you could do that, or you could just chill out on the rock wall. Craig and I found that the rock wall at school is a really, really good place to find new people. And what else could I say? London, you will have people say London is kind of boring, but I kind of could disagree. You just have to find things to do to keep yourself entertained and find a good group of people to hang out with that won't cause any trouble and just have some good clean fun is there. Like she said, is Bowler Mountain. They have a treetop range. There's an arcade. There's a arcade downtown where you could play unlimited games all night for only $5 entry. They have different festivals in the summer. And just be aware that some of your classes, y'all might have a summer semester, and with that, you only get like 2 weeks break in between each semester. That's something that I have to do. And yeah, so if there's any other questions, I guess you could feel free to reach out coming into the process. I don't mind answering any questions, but unfortunately, I won't be here when you guys reach. I'll be graduating or finishing up in August.
Okay, Thank you, Tiffany. Tiffany is in architectural technology, and I think she's joining us from work, if I'm not mistaken, because
Yes,
she's
I'm
work.
close to
Yeah,
at my desk.
she's at her desk. We're pulling some extra hours. And as you can tell, she's also enjoyed the city. I should add, I'm also from the Caribbean, for those who don't know. I came from Trinidad and Tobago, and I came to London as a student a long, long, long time ago. And I have never been bored in London. I have never, ever been bored here because there is a lot to do. You just have to be creative and you have to know you're not in the Bahamas. You're in a different country with a different climate and you adapt accordingly. But there's a lot to be done. Tiffany is on a co-op and you're being paid, right, Tiffany?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get paid minimum wage, or depending on where you work, you could get paid over minimum wage. So it just depends on the market at the time and your experience.
And minimum wage is
Craig
currently.
could answer that better. I believe it's like 16.50 now, but Craig would know.
Yes, and I think it's going up to $20 at some point in the very near future. But when you're on co-op, you can get minimum wage or you can get above. I know people make 20. I knew a student made $24 on minimum wage. Another one made 28. They were computer programming analysis and they worked for a large IT company. That's a lot of money. And if you're in a 3-year program, you can have 3 semesters of co op, and that's full time. It could be full time. So it's a great way to sort of supplement your funds for school. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany. And she's graduating, so I wish her all the best. Thank you, Tiffany. Next slide, Letitia. And this is Craig Knowles, again from the Bahamas. Craig with a nice smile also. And I'll let him say who he is and what he's up to doing. Craig, the mic is yours.
All right. So hello. Ms. Konnerth said before, my name is Craig Knowles. I'm currently in my third year of aviation technology and aircraft maintenance and avionics. Um, I'm from Nassau, of course, and I'd say I've had some challenges in terms of my like program because I mean I'll say the only thing I kind of like challenged the most was like juggling school and work and along with a personal life as well. Now, you don't have to do a job. It's all up to you. But me personally, I wanted some freedom. So I got a job where I was getting paid minimum wage, like or like roughly minimum wage. And sometimes my schedule can't really work with school because in terms of my program, I have to do a test every single week. So I had to study at the same time having to go to work. But after a while, I was able to, slowly adjust, change up my plans, and accommodate those two lifestyles. And another challenge was that, it's just, well, I can't really say this is more like academic, but it's more like a culture shock, because when I first came down to London, I only knew a few Bahamians, and they were the only ones I met inside the airport back in Nassau. Tiffany being one of them. And I thank Tiffany for being there because honestly, I probably would have never met any other Bahamians at the same time. So, yeah. But yeah, back on the culture shock, like it's so entirely different compared to back where we're from. So it takes a lot of like some time to adjust into this new, I'll say, lifestyle or new country that you're foreign to because I came during COVID, so I had no one to like help me like that. So I just had to navigate throughout my just navigate my way through. And like Tiffany said about like the bus system, you need to know that before you get here because I wouldn't say you need to know it, but you just need to like familiarize yourself with it because most most times often you'll be catching the bus to get from place to place because not everything is like in walking distance. So yeah. And in terms of like residence, I lived on residence 1 year in Falcon and then the next semester I was in Peregrine. I I enjoyed my time there, but the only reason what I kind of hated was that I didn't have much of a freedom. So it was more like well, you share roommates with like three other people, and like me personally, I can't. I don't know if everyone else, but I like to cook. So in order to cook, in terms like of in residence, you have to go upstairs, and that was kind of annoying. Like the rooms don't really come with like stoves and all the other things, and it's kind of like limited on what things you could bring in terms of that. So right now, I'm currently living in a off-campus housing, which is right across from the school. It's called Foundry First. Now the rent is kind of like affordable. It's kind of affordable, but but it gives you more like freedom in terms of like what you could do. You have a stove, you have a laundry mat, you have all of those other things, and yeah. And as for things to do around Canada, I mean, well, London specifically, I every single day I'm learning that there's other things to do, and I wish I'd known that so earlier because, like Tiffany said, you go to the arcade, you go to the movies, you go to the mall, and you got two big malls around here, which are very lively, should I say. And go to escape rooms, go just if you're into nature, you go on little hikes, little all of that. And then during the winter, you have Polar Mountain that you'll go down the slides, well, the little snow hills, and just go on the little tubes and skis and stuff like that. I've yet to go on one, but one of these days I want to go. And yeah, what else? In
Yeah,
terms of,
are you in your third year, Craig?
yes, I am.
Okay. So you're also planning to graduate in August.
Well, Joan actually, yeah. Today
Okay.
was my last day of school.
Okay, wonderful. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, and I hope to see you on campus before you graduate. Come up and say hi.
Yes, ma'am, will do.
Okay. Thank you so much, Craig. Okay, so again, that's another student who's they would be in what you call advanced diploma programs. And I can tell you they're both positioned to get fantastic jobs as soon as they've graduated. So we wish them all the best and just some more smiling Bahamian faces. The point was made about starting during COVID. And I think prior to COVID, we had the largest number of Bahamian students from any college. And so it was a lot easier to make friends, find people, get connections. That's slowly changing again, but yeah, you have to sort of get out of your comfort zone to meet people if you just want to meet those from your own country. So thanks again, guys. Next slide, Letitia. So they both mentioned cost of living and living in residence. I'm not sure. Let's just get to the slide, Letitia, please. We're going to look at, yeah, so they mentioned residence. So this is a group walking actually not far from the residences. And if you are looking at staying on campus, you're looking at about, $14 to $16,000 a year. That's for, sorry, living off campus. Kestrel Court is one of the places that Tiffany mentioned, and these are townhouses, so they're not your traditional high-rise apartments. And it's about close to $17,000 to $19,000. Through Fanshawe Cares, I mentioned all the workshops that they do for arrival and settlement. They will cover a lot of the possibilities for housing, be it on campus or off campus. So again, when you log into those seminars, they will cover a lot of that for you. When you get your offer letter, what you see there is just tuition fee. It's not going to be your cost of living in there. That's just tuition. So it's very important that you know that. And then, of course, books and other expenses, you're looking anywhere from 500 to 2,000. Depends on the program you're in. One of the good things about Fanshawe is you get every single software you need uploaded freely to your laptop. You need a laptop, and you need a good laptop. That's just that's just the way how the world is today, right? It's not pen and paper. You do need a good laptop. So you have to be prepared to have some additional funds available in case you have to buy an electronic workbook, or you have to buy, for instance, if you're in architecture, you need drafting boards, you need pens. If you need a hard hat, you need steel tip shoes. If you're in aviation, you're going to also need different supplies. So keep that in mind. So what you see in your offer letter is really just the tuition cost for your program. Your tuition fee does include your health plan, your dental plan, vision if you need glasses. It also covers the cost of eyeglasses. Then every student gets a bus pass, so that's all included. Your computer access, all of that is included in your fee, and all your student services, the wellness center, the gym. They mentioned rock climbing. All of that is included in your tuition, and you get what we call a fan card. Your fan card is it's like an ID card, and that would be used for getting on the bus, for getting into computer labs. If you have to go to the clinic and you need to show the medical staff that you are a student at Fanshawe, for them to honor your insurance, they have to see your fan card. So that's all included in the tuition, but your cost of living, meaning rent and food, is not included in that estimate in your offer letter. So read it carefully. And again, if you wish to book an appointment, I'm happy to cover all of that again, go over it with you in more detail. Next slide, Letitia. So just the application process. Like I said, I think the majority of people who registered for this had already applied. So I know we've been talking, but just to sort of review it very quickly, it's exploring the program, it's choosing your program, then preparing the application. And then, of course, all documents must be uploaded into the application. Some students still send me the transcripts, but it really should be uploaded directly into the application. And that would be the high school transcripts or university transcript, the graduation certificate. And once all of that is there, you need to have the application fee, which is $100 paid. If you pay that out of pocket, they will deduct it from your first semester's tuition. But if that's not done and the documents aren't there, your application is deemed pending or ineligible. And then, of course, you'll receive your offer letter. She's pretty quick, so I would say 24 to 48 hours, 72 hours at max, you will get an offer for your program. And then, of course, you have to pay your tuition deposit. Now, there have been many changes made with immigration, as many of you may know. So in order to really begin applying for the study permit, you should not just have paid the deposit of $2,300. They're asking that you pay the full first semester's fees in order to get the attestation letter, which we call a PAL, so that you could begin the study permit application. So when we get to pay the tuition deposit, that simply secures your seat, but it will not allow you to apply for a study permit until you have made the first semester fee payment in full. Now you can apply for the study permit. And again, that's something I'm happy to talk about individually if you want to book an appointment. But many of you may already have started with this, keeping in mind with the Bahamas, you need every country needs biometrics. Your challenge is you have to go to Florida or to Jamaica to get biometrics. So the sooner you get active with this process, the quicker you are towards receiving your study permit. And if you haven't done biometrics, you will not get your study permit. That has to be done. So if you're still only sitting with your offer letter, but you haven't done anything else, I encourage you to make sure that payment is made so you can get a PAL, the attestation letter, that allows you to now start with your study permit application. If you are a student who looked at January of 2025, not until May 1st will you be able to request the attestation letter. But if you are registered for September, and most of you are eligible to get that attestation letter, providing, of course, the first semester's fee has been paid. I should add, if for whatever reason you are denied a permit, you will get that money back. It is refundable once we see that the permit has been denied. Okay, next slide, please. So if you haven't yet applied for your study permit, we are going to give you a coupon to work with a company called Border Pass, and they can assist you with applying for the permit. So if you haven't yet done so, you need to let me know, and I can give you the code to start this application with Border Pass. They won't get you a permit, but they will assist you with applying for the study permit. Okay, and it's called Border Pass. It's a legitimate company, and they will help you with that whole pathway in a much more affordable way than if you were paying someone out of your own pocket. Next slide. So the vouchers that we were going to give was in fact the application voucher. So if you haven't yet applied, if you have applied but you're still sitting in that pending state, we need to have you book an appointment before May 24th or the 25th, I think, I'm not sure, to get a voucher to pay the application fee and also to get a voucher for Border Pass so they can help you with applying for the study permit. The sooner, the better. This is not something you want to sit on because, as you know, the government of Canada is giving out fewer study permits. You want to be one of the ones who can say, I got my permit and I'm on my way. So don't dilly-dally with this, and I wouldn't, don't sit on it at all. Please book an appointment as soon as possible and let's talk about getting you rolling with this. Next slide. So how do you get in touch with me? You can book a virtual appointment. There's that QR code. We can talk about anything and everything during that appointment. You can email me, but we do prefer that you book appointments. But if there's no appointment available within your time frame, just let me know and I can call you at any time. WhatsApp is always best, or Skype. And some Fanshawe materials you want to be looking at is the Pathfinder, which is something that helps you determine your career. What is your profession really? What should you be going into? If you've already chosen something and you just want to see whether or not you're on the right track, you can still do the Pathfinder quiz and see what it tells you. And then, of course, our view book, which tells you everything about Fanshawe and about the programs, our website. I'm always amazed how much is on YouTube about programs at Fanshawe. So I strongly suggest, if you have chosen a program, go to our website, go to YouTube, and there's tons of videos that have been done by the school, by students, by alumni on London, Fanshawe, and also the program of choice. So I really do hope that we will chat soon. And the last slide, as we get to 7:02, Letitia, what's the last slide? How are you going to follow us? Stay engaged. Follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, definitely on YouTube and Instagram, and book an appointment also with an ambassador if you want to speak to someone one-on-one about the Fanshawe experience and what it could mean for you. So do stay in touch and follow us to stay abreast of any changes that may be happening. Next slide. Questions. There really were no questions in the chat. Whether that means that everybody understood everything, that's great. And like I said, I know I've been speaking to you guys, and many of you may already also have been in touch with other people. So if there are no questions in the chat, this brings us to the end of the session. It's been great having you there and paying attention, and having Craig and having Tiffany join in. I know Fanshawe is a wonderful place. I've been working there for decades, and all I've seen is progress and growth, all in a good direction. We were on a super trajectory of promise for students in terms of jobs, in terms of future, in terms of a life in Canada, if that's what you want. If you choose to go home, well, you know what? You take all that knowledge and learning and experience back to your home country. But definitely the majority of students do end up staying in Canada as permanent residents. So once you get your postgrad work permit and you are doing all the right things, the right job title, the right city, the right province, you're eligible to be on the list, and hopefully someone hires you and you can apply for permanent residency. Christian is asking, what's a good time to come? Immigration does not appreciate students coming more than a month before classes start. So Christian, if you're coming in, if your classes start September 4th, I would say you should not be in Canada before August, simply because your health insurance does not kick in. Your health insurance only kicks in 10 days after the start of class. However, if you are here in Canada and it's a month before classes start and you need to go to the doctor, they will still honor and pay for that doctor's visit. But more than a month before, you could be questioned at immigration as to why are you coming that early. But certainly if classes start September 4th, by August 4th, you could be here in Canada with family. But stay in touch with Fanshawe Cares, because they are the ones to talk about picking you up at the airport free of charge. bringing you to London free of charge. Your parents would have to pay, but for you, the Fanshawe bus, Robert Q bus, it's free to all students. So just stay in touch with them. And I would say 1 month prior to coming is what we consider to be acceptable. Let's see if there are other questions. I think that was the only question. So everyone, thank you so much for your time this evening. I look forward to chatting further with you, and even more, I look forward to welcoming you in person in a couple of months. So good luck with all the plans, and let me know if you have any questions, concerns. Happy to answer them for you. So have a wonderful evening, and look forward to meeting all of you in person pretty soon. Thank you. Okay, so bye-bye.